Imagine if, like, every single thing in your life, the adventures, the missteps, even the really profound moments, what if all that was actually this treasure trove of lessons just waiting to be shared?
Yeah, like a personal library.
Exactly. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this really extraordinary autobiography. You've shared excerpts from Jimi Hunter, Stories of My Life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not your typical, birth to now memoir.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. It's more like this collection of just raw, unfiltered truths.
Right, stuff you learned the hard way.
Totally. Personal research from his own mistakes, he calls it.
Mm.
And just surprising insights into a life lived with, well, enthusiasm for everything, the good, the bad, and, as he says, sometimes the stupid.
He really doesn't hold back on that part.
No. So our mission today is really to unpack the most compelling bits of knowledge and personal growth from these really candid stories. We want to offer you a kind of shortcut to understanding what gives a life real purpose and meaning, according to him.
And you'll hear about some wild adventures, believe me.
Oh, I bet. And his unique way of teaching and these huge shifts that, like, completely reshaped how he saw himself and the world.
And it's really important for you to know this whole deep dive. It's based entirely on the excerpts provided from Jimi Hunter's own stories and reflections.
Right, we're sticking to the source material.
Exactly. We're using his words, his experiences to give you a genuine feel for his journey.
Okay, so let's start with why he wrote this. What was his core intent? He talks about turning himself inside out for everyone to see.
Yeah, which is pretty brave.
It is. And he basically says, look, critics, supporters, they'll both find what they need here because these are his truths from his viewpoint. What mattered to him then?
He wasn't aiming to please, just to be, well, honest, authentic.
And what really struck me is his point about fame versus greatness, right? And net worth versus self-worth, how we mix those up.
Oh, absolutely. He highlights those unknown acts of love, sacrifice, and courage that, happen every single day from all of us.
Yeah.
And his point is, all our lives are worth writing about because of that. It's not just about being famous.
It's a powerful message.
Mm-hmm.
And it connects to that Alex Haley quote he mentions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About the library burning.
Yes. Every time an old person dies, it's like a library burning.
Mm-hmm.
He said that just deeply touched his soul.
You can see why it underscores how vital it is to share what we've lived through, preserve those libraries.
And he's not shy about the learning process either. He explicitly says he uses his own missteps, his mistakes, for personal research and study.
Like, here's what not to do, maybe.
Exactly. He basically offers his life as a case study. For him, the lessons are only useful if you actually share them, pass them on.
Which ties into how he sees imperfection, right?
Okay.
That idea that our imperfections are what we have most in common.
With other people, yeah. It's not about being perfect. He says we're here to embrace our own good and see it in others.
He even brings in Thomas Merton there, about seeing the sacred beauty in each other. It's a very accepting viewpoint.
And that acceptance definitely shaped how he told the story, too. He said he's always been a storyteller, so a chronological thing just didn't feel right.
Made sense for him to do it story by story.
Yeah. It let him show his total self, the good, the bad, the messy bits. He refused to dumb down these stories with false self-modesty or hide some unpleasant things. Just put it all out there.
Okay, so we get why he shared his story. Now let's dig into the foundations. What shaped him early on? He talks about this Norman Rockwell childhood.
Right, growing up in Sacramento, fond memories, it sounds like. Undeveloped areas, lots of migrating birds, meadowlarks, red-winged blackbirds.
Sounds pretty idyllic. Different from today, for sure.
Totally different. His pastimes were things like catching lizards and snakes. He even mentions smaller gopher snakes made good pets.
Wow. And the carp fishing. That story is something else.
Yeah, catching them on dough balls and then, well, the firecracker part. He adds that cruelty to animals had not been invented yet, which is a stark glimpse into different times.
Definitely different sensibilities.
Mm.
And the Boy Scout stuff sounds like classic adventures. Camp Harvey West, Camp Pollock.
Mm-hmm. Catching that injured trout for an award.
Hmm.
And Camp Pollock with little adult supervision.
Recipe for trouble, right?
Oh, yeah. Dumb things boys like to do. Paper cigars, acting drunk on water, being river rats. Standard stuff, I guess.
And that game they invented. Part tackle football, part cage fighting.
Wild. Where the loser got pantsed. Driven by fear or the joy of humiliating someone else, it speaks to this really raw competitiveness.
It wasn't just games. He mentions no TV, no video games. So it was all fort building, sports, bikes,
Constant contests, like their lives depended upon it, running through sprinklers, backyard camping.
even running buck naked through the neighborhood. Just pure, unstructured freedom.
But even in this idyllic picture, he remembers these two tiny negative things.
Right, not making the all-star team when his friend did, yeah, and missing that pop-up in the softball game.
It's funny how those little things stick, isn't it?
Totally. Okay, so moving to the pillars. His parents. He says he hit the jackpot. Both from Texas, big on hospitality.
His mother, Mimi, a perfect mom, a great Southern cook, never worked after his brother was born.
He really paints a picture of those family meals. Elaborate, the no eating before dinner rule. Fried chicken, chicken fried steak.
Sounds amazing. And those Southern traditions, dressing for dinner, waiting for mom, manners, his dad saying grace, very structured.
And Mimi's legacy seems huge for him. He got her temperament, her EQ, her social judgment.
He even admits they both could be a bit judgmental.
Ah, interesting. But she was the hub of the wheel, the wind beneath our wings. Her love gave him courage.
And he talks about her peaceful passing at 91, sharing her birthday thoughts from her memorial, how blessed she felt by her family. Really touching. Shows that deep impact of a parent's love.
And his father, Charles William Hunter, born in Texas, 1920, close to his mother, Eileen. Military background.
Oklahoma Military Academy, WWII in Europe. Bronze Star, Purple Heart.
But reluctant to talk about combat, right? Just that
Yeah.
he saw good men die.
Yeah, very typical of that generation. Then his scouting career was quite distinguished. Assistant to the Chief Scout Executive. Photos with Nixon, Norman Rockwell.
Wow. A life of principle seems like.
Definitely, but also a disciplinarian. Jimmy mentions spankings with a belt, leaving bruises.
Oof. But also provided financial security, steadfastness. His loyalties were clear. Family, scouting, GOP, Army, NRA, USA, in that order.
He really embodied that scout oath, the greatest generation ethos. Accepted what he couldn't change, lived by fundamental axioms.
A really solid foundation, even with the strictness. But then comes a huge turning point, his brother Chuck's death.
Yeah, this is clearly pivotal. Chuck was the superstar Eagle Scout at 13, honor roll, athlete, artist, popular, charismatic.
Different temperament from Jimmy, too. More content, closer to their mom.
Right. Though Chuck had his own rebellion later, stealing cigarettes, arguing with their dad.
They even shared that property. Rancho Agro sounds like a wild time.
Yeah, like fraternity row. But then the tragedy hits. Chuck dies at 37, drunk driving accident, blood alcohol 0.28.
Devastating. Jimmy describes the sheriff at the door, the disbelief, that physical gut punch feeling.
Nausea, dizziness. You really feel the physical shock of grief in his telling.
And the family's reaction. His mother, near catatonic, his father doing the heavy lifting of packing Chuck's things.
Jimmy even viewed the body privately, became kind of obsessed with the details, the autopsy, the crash report, trying to make sense of it, I suppose.
It forced him to face the brutal finality of death head on, something he wasn't prepared for. Chuck's house next door became like a tomb.
That physical emptiness mirroring the emotional void, so powerful.
In his honesty with his mother, telling her it was Chuck's own doing. Death by stupidity, he called it. That's incredibly raw.
It really is, unflinching, even in grief, but the impact was immense. Losing his best friend, part of his identity as one of the Hunter brothers.
Gone. It hammered home that ripple effect, how one person's actions, one choice, can change everything.
Absolutely. And his sister, Holly, seems like another key figure. He remembers being excited when she was born. She acquired those social graces of a Texas lady.
Her devotion sounds incredible, especially sacrificing to keep their parents at home later in life.
That speaks volumes about her loyalty. And her resilience, too, strengthened by her faith. She runs the Sunday school now at her church.
And she's been a constant support for Jimmy, always calling, seeing the good in him, a real anchor.
Definitely a grounding force.
Okay, so with all that background, how did Jimmy forge his own identity? From scout to surfer.
Right. Eagle Scout at 16. That gave him this core belief. If he worked hard enough, he could do anything. He mentions adventures like a train trip to Chicago, influential camp staff.
Like Buck, the world's strongest man.
Exactly. But then high school hits, peak surfing craze time. And he goes from someone who surfed to a surfer, capital S. Especially after that camp job in Hawaii.
Joining the West Shore Surfing Association sounds like a big deal.
Oh, it was. It was an identity. And that led to this rebel phase, wearing outlandish vintage clothes for attention.
Which got him in trouble with the dean, Marks.
Right. And sadly, a kid he inspired, Jeff Day, later died from heroin. A sobering reminder of where rebellion can lead.
But ironically, Jimmy still won Best Dressed Senior.
Yeah. By mixing the vintage with Ivy League stuff, his mom helped. He borrowed his brother's clothes, kind of blending in and standing out all at once.
Quite the balancing act. And then senior year, the Clean Living Club with his friend Steve Brown.
Amazing, right? No alcohol, no smoking, nothing below the neck with girls. He graduated a virgin, never touched alcohol or drugs. Incredible self-discipline for that age.
Wow. Okay, so from clean living to motorcycle racing, that's a shift.
A big one, sparked by Steve McQueen in The Great Escape, apparently. A common inspiration back then.
His first race was at the dangerous Hayward track, the Spillway. Unforgiving wall, concrete, hard surface.
And he qualified for the main event first time out. That must have just fueled the fire.
Totally. And then he immediately modified his bike engine and won his next race there. That feeling of winning just hooked him.
He gives credit to his coach, Dave Hemias, and mechanic, Ed Brown. Shows the importance of having that support team.
He moved up fast, got sponsors, but then came the pressure. Motocross was tough for him, those whoop-to-doos.
Led to scary moments, like flying off the track at 50 Melito at Hangtown. The risks just kept getting higher.
Until the reckoning. That crash on the Honda XL125, going over a 6-foot drop into a creek bed.
Yeah, that made him stop and think about the recklessness. He decided to quit racing after 10 years, said the accidents were making a coward of him, knowing when to walk away. That's huge.
So he walks away from physical risk, but then dives into financial risks, with some ethical flexibility.
Seems like it. Starting Discount Flowers with Linda, he's open about using cash as black money, avoiding the IRS.
And his strategy with the cops. Easier to ask forgiveness than permission, just setting up flower stands wherever.
It's a certain kind of hustle, isn't it? Pragmatic, maybe a bit dodgy. But that flower business actually gave him the capital to start buying houses.
Right. He owned 9 properties by age 30. So the ethically gray start led to legitimate success. Raises questions, for sure.
It does. The balance between ambition and, well, playing by all the rules.
He's also not afraid to share the plain dumb decisions, the ones that make good stories later.
Like the cliff jumping story. Hesitating, getting called chicken shit and dumb shit. Classic peer pressure.
Or getting thrown in Tijuana jail at 20. Public drunkenness, throwing cherry bombs, refusing a bribe but paying a bigger fine later.
Sounds about right for a 20-year-old messing around. But the wrestling match with D, his friend back from Vietnam, that sounds rougher.
Yeah, physical injuries, bloody nose, torn nail, neck pain for months. But the real hurt was feeling set up by his friends, that sucker punch feeling.
Betrayal cuts deep, but the decision he calls the dumbest. Losing his house.
Ouch, collateralizing it for his best friend Kit Lauer's failing business.
He admits it. Greed, emotion, and loyalty to a friend just wiped out logic. Kit went bankrupt. Jimmy lost the house. A hard lesson about mixing money, friendship, and emotion.
A very expensive lesson. And then, just for color, the absurd softball stories.
Right. The Vets League team from the mental institution. Bunched outfielders, guys stopping at first base.
Just surreal. And the Togo's team uniforms, talent, but total chaos.
Near brawl between teammates right away. Diffused by the ump. The scapegoat rule if you missed pizza and beer.
And the second fight stopped because someone lost a contact lens.
You can't make this stuff up. It's like a weird office dynamic, but on a softball field.
But his team, the Mutants, they actually won the championship, right? Against the undefeated A's.
Yeah. Classic underdog story. The Mutants were pumped up, the A's were deflated. Sometimes morale is everything.
Okay, so all these experiences, how did they lead him to teaching? That became his real calling.
It started with a moment of clarity, apparently. Lifeguarding, watching carpenters work in the hot sun.
And thinking, I don't ever want to work that hard. I'm going to be a teacher.
Pragmatic. But it was also a family thing, right? His mom, grandma, eventually his siblings too.
And the lifestyle appealed. Summers off for surfing, tennis, dirt bikes, triathlons.
Can't blame him there. That work-life balance is a big draw for teaching.
Plus, he found real autonomy and security, freedom in his, let's say, unorthodox style. And 36 years at the same school, Cherrywood Elementary.
That's incredible loyalty. He even taught the kids of his former students. Deep roots in that community.
And he really aimed for impact. Believed 5th grade was critical, saw himself as a second father sometimes, didn't want to waste that chance.
You see it in the programs he started. The school-wide chess team with the Top Gun visor for the best player.
Chess sets for every classroom.
Yeah.
And the dance and drum team he co-founded with Jennifer.
Learning from Wilfred Mark from Trinidad. Turning noise into music with a merit system. And that cheer, we are family, all of us are related, each of us is unique, really fostering community.
His Mr. Hunter's All-Americans program for supporting non-English speaking kids sounds smart too, pairing them with peers who got bonuses.
Practical, peer-based support, and some of those student stories are heart-wrenching. Tuan hating the Viet Cong who killed his brother.
Liliana from El Salvador, who'd seen death multiple times by age 10, he was dealing with kids carrying heavy stuff.
Absolutely. Which makes his approach to challenges interesting. He talks about the triune brain instinct overriding reason.
Like the Rocky Raccoon incident. Rocky attacks him, he wants payback.
Then Rocky gets loose, attacks a chinchilla, and Jimmy just panics. Running of the bulls, pushing kids aside, then he leads the charge to get Rocky removed.
A perfect example of that primal brain kicking in, even for a teacher.
And his approach to special students was interesting, too. Success is about willingness, not just ability, he thought.
So immediate consequences, but also fostering belonging in Mr. Hunter's All-Americans. Discipline and inclusion.
The story of Richard highlights the complexity. Most disruptive kid in 36 years, becomes a successful artist, but still struggles with boundaries.
To the point Jimmy had to ban him from his house.
Yeah.
Trying not to take it personally, but it still impacts you. Tough stuff.
Definitely. And then the pranks. The crazy teacher's pranks.
His philosophy was shock value, right? Avoid being ho-hum boring.
Yeah, like the polio shot prank, the high-powered air gun with fake needles making a kid faint. That's intense.
Or the Agnew's mental hospital prank.
Yeah.
The scary mask, his brother-in-law appearing, kids screaming and running, mass hysteria.
It's pretty out there. You wonder about the line, you know? But his goal was creating these unforgettable, maybe visceral experiences.
Even making kids write goodbye letters at a Civil War fort to make them emotionally fragile. Pushing boundaries.
Or the African jumping spider presenting a harmless tarantula as deadly, causing panic.
Pulling loose teeth with dental floss, leaving blood marks on the ceiling. Todd Middendorf getting his twin brother to punch him in the nose to show sadness for a play.
It's a pattern of extreme methods for engagement. Trying to make learning stick, I guess, in a very unconventional way.
And his take on staff meetings.
Yeah.
Another triune brain example.
Totally. Frontal cortex, asleep at the wheel, petty dynamics, arguing over signing a card, firing inwards, making simple things take forever.
He compared it to a bad LSD trip.
Yeah.
And Kissinger's line about bitter debates over small stakes. It sounds painfully familiar for anyone who's been in meetings like that.
It really does. A vivid picture of group dysfunction when ego takes over.
Okay, so all this chaos and intensity, how did it shape his personal evolution? His relationships? He looks back at his early 20s pretty harshly.
Yeah, rejecting values, indulging senses, drifting like a ship without a rudder, feeling fractured, paying a high price to live a low life.
But Chuck's death was the turning point, the thing that snapped him out of it.
That's what he says, the transformational event that ended that reckless phase, the shock that finally cut through the narcissism.
Which he admits was there. Skeptical of God, higher power, because of infantile and malignant narcissism. Always needing to be right.
But then he found Buddhism, which, maybe surprisingly, made him more comfortable in my own skin.
Gave him freedom to be his total self, flaws and all, like taking the red pill of truth instead of the blue pill of denial, facing reality.
And a key takeaway for him was, desire is the cause of suffering. Passions are desires on steroids. He warns against being romance junkies.
That Buddhist fire sermon idea makes sense. Cravings lead to trouble.
Which leads to surrender, right? Realizing no one can achieve mastery on their own. The need to surrender to something bigger, go with the flow, live in harmony with the truth.
Let go of needing control. That's a huge shift. And then came another massive test, his near-death experience.
Yeah, April 2003, collapsing from internal bleeding, hospitalized, blood pressure dangerously low.
The diagnosis,
Yeah.
infected diverticular leaking blood. Then a failed procedure, then a catastrophic intestinal collapse, emergency surgery.
With no guarantees. Death or a colostomy bag were the likely outcomes. Plus, he later developed that rare eye disease, Coates disease, leaving him legally blind in one eye, just one thing after another.
And his memories of the ICU, just harrowing. Constant beepers, fever, thirst, collapsing veins, severe delirium.
Hallucinations, thinking people, even Jennifer, were trying to kill him, trying to pull out IVs. He calls it agony, a literal living hell.
You can't imagine going through that. But it was transformative.
Absolutely. Stripped away illusions of safety, of control. But it also woke him up from ego consciousness to the spirit that lives in all of us.
Made him a seeker, much humbler, deeply appreciating how precious life is, a crucible experience.
And the gratitude for the love and support, especially Jennifer's constant presence and love, it bonded them intensely, made him see love as this powerful energy, really clarified what mattered.
Which brings us neatly to his journey towards we, finding that self-actualized relationship. It started with becoming a single parent, didn't it?
Right. After his second wife, Mary, left him and their daughters for another man, struggling with alcoholism, he made that tough, ruthlessly pragmatic call to encourage her departure for the girl's sake.
So hard. And he needed that village of support. Livy, his house mom, George brothers as fun, crazy uncles, friends, family.
Chase a community, absolutely. And Mary's story is tragic, dying at 65 from alcoholism, estranged from her daughters.
Livy's Facebook post about her.
Yeah.
No anger, just deep sadness over poor choices. And Jimmy's own regret introducing her to alcohol, being too focused on his own pursuits.
It's a heavy reflection on choices, consequences, and responsibility within relationships.
And it fuels his deep concern for his grandsons, Hunter and Wesley, about that genetic predisposition to addiction, having seen it destroy Mary, Chuck, Jennifer's brother.
It's a stark personal warning. Then there was that other detour, the Future Lines delusion, the multi-level marketing scheme.
Oh yeah, the get-rich-quick thing that took over his life for 2 years. Inflammation of the ego, evangelical fever.
Alienating friends, prioritizing transactional relationships. That image of you projected on his forehead,
Wow.
symbolizing the self-delusion.
Thankfully, he realized it was a pyramid scheme before quitting his teaching job. A close call. And a lesson about ego and easy money.
But then destiny. Unforeseen circumstances lead him to meet Jennifer at a dance hall.
Instant connection. Feeling he'd known her before, telling himself the next day if she calls, he'll marry her.
And it happened fast. His daughter questioning the age gap, Jennifer's confident reply. She moved in within a month, married by year's end. Felt prearranged by the universe.
And her impact was huge, shifting him from me to we consciousness. He calls their marriage a triumph of hope over experience.
He describes her as grounded, happy, competent, strong family background, personal resilience, moving across country alone at 21, letting a Harvard chance go, smart, artistic, socially skilled.
And he shares that advice on marriage from his psychiatrist brother-in-law. The highest state isn't the individual, it's the self-actualized couple.
Avoiding separate egos, finding unity consciousness, 1 + 1 = 1. He even brings in evolutionary science bonding hormones, longer lives for satisfied couples.
Marriage is the most potent force for personal transformation. A crackling fire in a warm, cozy room. That's beautiful.
It really is. And his daughters, Libby and Mimi, clearly reflect those loving bonds too.
Libby, compassionate early on, resilient after her mom left, fiercely protective of Mimi, successful professionally, dedicated to family.
Mimi loved for being so different from him. Humble, lacking ego. Delayed speech but hyper-intelligent, win in trivia contests.
Embodies those Tao Te Ching virtues, harmony, compassion, frugality. Quietly spiritual, lives by example, content with an easy-centered life, opened up after her mom left, saw herself as part of the whole.
Two very different but clearly cherished daughters. And then there's his friend, Otto. What a character.
Living legend,
Yeah.
facing a terminal diagnosis, but just says, fuck it, I'm riding my bike anyway, zero fear.
And that story at the hook? The hostile surfer, Otto, just paddles up. How you doing, you fucking asshole? Missing the verb.
Makes everyone think they're buddies, diffuses the situation, gets Jimmy waves. Genius.
Pure, confident absurdity and the hot tub prank. Nudging Jimmy to jump some guys, then slipping underwater to a well.
Grab their testicles, leading to screams and retreat, Otto's unique brand of playful aggression.
But he's not just a tough guy, right? Passionately married, loving father, meditates, does Reiki, plays boogie-woogie piano.
Totally multidimensional. A celebration of the human spirit. People contain multitudes.
Exactly. Okay, so in his later life, travel becomes a big theme, but it evolves.
Before Jan, it was always functional, right? Go somewhere to do something,
Yeah.
surf, bike, race. Limited by his identity, his ego.
With Jen, it changed. Became more about going to visit and experience a new place without an objective. Renting cars in BC just for fun, organized tours.
Meeting people but not staying connected. A shift from goal-driven to experience-driven.
And his cruising philosophies are interesting. Ocean cruises are going to Mars for happily married people, observing diverse cultures, learning to get out of the judge's seat, embrace freedom of mediocrity.
Riverboats offered something different, intimate access to remote communities in places like Myanmar. Happy people, low crime, strong values, strict regimes. complex observations.
And that beautiful moment for Jennifer on Ile d'Orléans, connecting with her ancestors, the king's daughters, feeling the miracle of Jennifer's
Then
existence.
that comes the big one, the RV revelation. Travel for travel's sake. After initially dismissing RVers as old fuddy-duddies
Total change of heart, realizing maybe those gas-guzzling RV people had it figured out all along. It's great when you challenge your own stereotypes.
and the freedoms. No set destination, comfort of home, saving money, and his favorite, never more than 10 feet away from where I can take a pee.
Ah, the practical joys. But seriously, he saw the RV trip as a surrender experience for my ego. Shifting from anticipating destinations to just enjoying the journey. Couldn't have done that younger.
He describes the RV community vividly, too. Mad Max for fuddy-duddies, modern-day gypsy camp. Mostly friendly, that freedom of mediocrity again.
Though he did encounter one total asshole Good Sam member who lectured him.
Yeah.
Always one, right?
Always one. But he connects this new love of aimless travel back to his ancestors' pioneering spirit, getting free so you can live bigger. That's deep.
It is. And speaking of ancestors and legacy, the family keepsakes are important to him.
Not for money, but for meaning. Archibald Pearson's spurs, his dad's medals, passing them down.
But the most precious things, those two paintings by his brother Chuck, a home sweet home sign from his mom, Dad's trout, a wooden tennis player from his sister.
Tangible connections to love. And he really hopes his grandsons, Hunter and Wesley, and their kids will appreciate that history.
Which leads directly into his 10 Commandments of life for them. Not preaching, he says, but teaching, being an advanced scout.
Some key ones. Number 1, listen to your board of directors. Acknowledge your young brain isn't fully developed. Rely on trusted advisors. Smart advice.
Number 3 is heavy. Be careful with alcohol and drugs. The honey smeared on the razor's edge. He names Chuck and Mary, warns about genetics, especially about opiates, fentanyl. You cannot try them even once. Urgent.
Number 5, do what's best for you in the long term. The apex decision. Prioritize future you over instant gratification.
Number 6, WIT. Whatever it takes. He sees their potential, IQ and EQ, but says it's up to them to be their best. If it's to be, it's up to me. Self-reliance.
Number 7, take responsibility. Blame yourself, not others. Blaming gives away power. If you mess up, fess up. Accountability.
Number 9, everything you do has consequences. Pick up one end of the stick, you get the other. Think about results, especially with secrets, lies, illegal stuff, cause and effect.
And number 10, don't smoke. Plain and simple. Dumb, dumb, dumb is straight up stupid. Classic Pop's advice.
He hopes his words help them live happy, meaningful lives, knowing a part of him lives on in them. And that P.S.
Always be yourself unless you can be Pops. Then, of course, be Pops. That's just perfect.
Yeah.
Endearing.
It really is. So as we wrap up, his final reflections are pretty powerful. On mortality, aging.
Watching his dog Bubba get old, mirroring his own journey. And he's honest about his own health issues. The aneurysm, anemia, the eye condition, torn muscle, concussions causing CRS.
Can't remember shit. He struggles honestly with accepting death, even while hoping for an exception. Calls death his greatest teacher.
And that realization, seeing the world at 70 like he did at 30, would mean 40 wasted years. You have to change.
That warrior quality in choosing change, shifting from external striving to internal questions, the inner universe becoming more interesting.
Trading, striving for arriving, no longer climbing the ladder. His goals now, great-grandpa, 50th anniversary with Jen, simple, profound.
Contentment and embracing the shadow side. His self-assessment is blunt. It seems like I've made just one mistake after another and needed some heavy lessons.
But he's found peace with it. Standing in the light, at peace with his shadow, knowing that being blind to your shadow means you're in the dark.
I never said I was a saint. I am saying I was a sinner.
That's radical self-acceptance right there.
And his reason for writing. Help friends and family know him better, maybe understand themselves better. A gift.
The book as a time capsule for descendants he'll never meet. I love you, he tells them.
And that final poem, we live and we die, we love and we grieve, we breed and then disappear, and in between we search for meaning and to leave a record for those who will follow us.
Wow. Just encapsulates the whole human cycle, doesn't it?
It really does. What an incredible journey we've taken through Jimi Hunter's life based on these stories you've brought us, from, the wild childhood stuff and crazy adventures to his really impactful teaching, those deep personal changes and all the lessons learned from love, loss, tough calls.
It's quite a tapestry. And his honesty, that rawness, it reminds you that meaning isn't in perfection, right? or some easy, straight path.
No, it's in the courage to just live authentically, learn from everything, good and bad, and then having the guts to share your story.
Your unique story. Exactly. So, as you reflect on Jimi's willingness to just turn his life inside out for everyone to see, based on the material we've discussed, here's something to think about.
Okay.
What seemingly dumb decisions or unexpected turns in your own life, the stuff you maybe don't talk about much, might actually be the most valuable stories you have to tell. What wisdom might be waiting inside them, ready to be revealed.